tracks and stuff here for you. So just give me just a second here, guys, while this pulls up here. My computer's insanely slow right now for some reason. Uh, my MacBook here. But so just give me just a second here, guys. And also, too, if you guys have anything you guys want to talk about or train on, or let me ask you guys this. Anybody on here, you can unmute while this is loading up here. If you're doing telesales or you're doing anything, right? Where are you guys like struggling? Like, where do you guys get stuck? Because we can talk a lot about that. Because I can go into really depth on all this script here. We can talk about it for a while, but I want to know what you guys really need help with and where you think that it would be the most helpful for you guys. Um, so is it like, if we go back to the appointment timeline, right? Is it the intro? Is it the rebuttals? Is it the finding the why? Like what parts do you guys kind of struggle with? Anybody going on mute? Dang, everybody's got it. Everybody's closing. Everybody's writing 30.
I setting same day expectations or setting better same day expectations over the phone.
What do you mean, like setting same day better expect? Like, what do you mean?
Um, Basically not like before getting to closing, they know that like no matter what, we're gonna go through the application.
Okay, that's good. So to me, that sounds like more like explaining the process correctly. Um, so
When I say same day expectations, I mean like, oh, like not giving them taking away the objection of, yeah, well just give me time to think about it, way beforehand.
got it. Okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense. So, okay. So that's pretty good. So we can talk about basically like objections, right? Um, let me I'm about to pull this up here. So basically the objection for, hey, I want to think about it. So basically, if you get that objection, it's one of two things. It's that you didn't build enough value in the product, or it's actually it's the price or it's the why. You didn't make the why clear enough, and or just too expensive. You showed them something a little bit too expensive. So whenever I get that objection, I go, I totally understand, now. Um, and then I start to go through the word track of, okay, well, right now, if they don't have anything in place, right, a lot of times it's, okay, you don't have anything in place like this to, do this. So right now you don't have anything. So then I'm going back to painting the picture again. I'm going, so your beneficiary told me, right, God forbid something, happens. That's like, it's, you don't have anything in place right now. So even if you started with this bottom one, or we could even look under, um, we could figure out, something right now, and you can always increase it later. Because I think sometimes a lot of clients think that like once they have this, they can't change it sometimes. So if you explain, hey, I tell all my clients start with whatever's super comfortable, and then you can kind of go up from there. And then that kind of will tell me by that, it'll kind of tell me where their head's at on the actual um, on it, basically. Because then you're going to figure out if it's a price thing or you're going to figure out if it's just a why thing. Because if you nail those two down good enough, you shouldn't have you shouldn't be getting that as much. Or if you do, I explain that, and then usually they'll go, okay, no, you're right. Well, I guess let's just start with a lot of time it's a price thing. A lot of time they're just like, oh, okay, well, I just want to start with something a little bit like, okay, right now I don't have anything. You're right. If something happens tomorrow, nothing. My beneficiary is not going to be okay. So, all right, well, why don't we just start with the 10,000, or why don't we just start with like 5,000 or something like that? So whenever I hear that, I want to think about it. They actually don't want to think about it. It's either just too much or they don't understand why they need it enough. So that's what I'd be going back to.
All right.
All right, guys, this is Uh, seriously crazy how this is like not loading up right now. I have it right here. Maybe I can just airdrop it to myself. Let me see here. Okay, let's try this. Okay. All right. So we can. Okay. Share to. Sorry, guys, it's just taking a second here. Any other questions while I'm kind of pulling this up here? Finally, okay, here we go. We're just gonna go over it, and then we'll kind of go over questions as we go here. All right. Now the script is it doesn't look very pretty. I'm not very good at making stuff like very pretty, but I'll definitely gonna get you guys the right information. So I broke it down here. You guys can all see my screen, right? We're good. All righty. So we broke it down just like how on here, this timeline to kind of make it simple because we're just going to train on this timeline. Once you understand the timeline, you really don't need a script because sometimes when you're reading off a script, clients can tell that you're reading off a script and they don't like it. It doesn't sound normal. Like they get a little weirded out. So kind of the point of teaching it like this is like you can kind of make up your own script. But this is a script. But like if you understand all of these concepts, then it's going to make it really easy. So that's where the way that I broke it down. So number one is just the intro. I use literally the exact same intro I do when I'm booking an in-home appointment, right? So I'm gonna basically just go through this here. Who wants to be my? Actually, I'm gonna pick somebody. So let's see here. Okay. Anybody who can talk. Abel, Jake, Luigi, Skylar, Christian. One of you guys.
Okay.
All right, Jake, let's go. So, you just be the client, okay?
Okay.
We're gonna kind of go through it as we go. Okay, so hey, Jake.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Jake, what's going on? This is Tyler. I was just getting back to you in regards to a request we received a little while back. I was looking at the information on the state regulated life insurance and final expense programs here in Pierce County. It looks like you listed down your date of birth here as blank, blank, blank.
Wait, what is this about?
Yeah, so this is about a request that you sent over a little while back. Looks like usually most people, when they get these, they just want to make sure there aren't any burdens left behind, like cost of burial or cremation, or they just want to leave some money behind for their families. Is that kind of the same thing you were looking at?
Yeah, I was kind of looking into it a little bit.
Okay, perfect. And just to confirm, just to make sure I have the correct file here, I got a date of birth here is blank, blank, blank. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Awesome. And then I have the delivery address as blank, blank, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. So I'm going to pause right here. So the date of birth can also be the beneficiary. I know a lot of you guys aren't running beneficiary leads, and I'm going to make a note in that this is kind of the rough draft. I'm going to go through it with you guys, and I want to go through it so we can kind of make it better too. But for the date of birth here, you can also put down the beneficiary. If you have the beneficiary's name, say the beneficiary's name. That's always going to get you close. It's going to make the client less rebuttals. They're like, okay, you know my beneficiary's name. Okay, so I'm gonna hear you out. Okay. So in the next spot here, okay, perfect. I'll have you off the phone here pretty quick. I'm just a medical underwriter assigned to your file. My job's super simple. I'm just the one that goes over your eligibility and assists you in getting the coverage through the state's discounted programs. Okay. So that's the intro. So once you get through there, they know that's about final expense and burial programs. They know that you have their beneficiary, their date of birth, their information, and basically you just intro it and you told them who you are. I'm gonna have you off the phone here pretty quick. I'm just a medical underwriter signed your file. My job's super simple. I'm just the one that goes over your eligibility, assists you in getting the coverage to the state's discounted programs. Okay, so that's the intro. Next is the why. So now, before we dive into everything, whatever, now before we dive into everything, so Jake, so I'll bring you back here. So, all right, Jake. So now before we dive into everything, just so we're on the same page, was your main concern, like most families, just wanted to make sure that you got the funeral expense, doesn't fall a burden on your loved ones?
Yes. Yes. Funeral expenses.
Got it. Okay. So that's why most families send this in. Now, were you just trying to make sure your funeral expense is taken care of, or leave something behind for your loved ones as well?
Mainly funeral expense, but if there's a little bit left over, I would like some for the family as well.
Okay, absolutely. So then make note of that. Now, God forbid, if you were to pass away today, who would be the beneficiary responsible for paying for the funeral expenses and picking up the pieces tomorrow?
It would be my son,
Okay, your son, and what's their name?
John.
Okay, got it, for John. So, alrighty, then that's it, guys. So now for the why, this is a pretty basic why. This section here, you can always go into this more. So like, what I'll probably do is I'm going to add some power questions that can go with this. I tried to make this script really honestly pretty short and concise and to the point, so you just understand what you're trying to do. So let's say after you go into what is their name, got it, you say my son, you could go into digging into the why more. I would recommend you probably should go into it more, but as long as you have the beneficiary name, you know exactly what it's for, you're okay to move on. But you could ask stuff like, hey, did something happen that got you looking into this recently? Right. Get them, start kind of poking like why did they fill this out? Why are they looking into this in the first place? That could be something to help. But we'll go to this. I'm gonna add some power questions on here, but we'll go to the next thing here. Okay. Now the next thing on here is credibility. Okay. So now Jake, can you grab a pen and paper so I can give you my credentials so you know exactly who you're talking to? You can take your time.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Yep, take your time. Hey, you can never find those pens when you need them.
Ha 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 ha.
Ha ha ha. Yeah.
All right, I'm ready.
Cool. Awesome. So my first name is Tyler. My last name is Green. My national producer number is 1941-5058. Can you read that back to me?
Yeah, can you say that one more time?
Yeah, it's 1941.
1941
Yep, 5058.
5058.
Perfect.
Got it.
Awesome. This is like my work social security number to identify me within the state. It's tied to a copy of my fingerprints and a federal background check, and they just require me by law to give you that information, Jake. This way, you know you're talking to a licensed and active professional appointed by the state of Washington. You can look me up on insurance.wa.gov website if you would like as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you over a business card, or I'm going to send you over my website, so you can put a face to a name. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool. So pretty straightforward, guys. You're just building your credibility so you have the ability to talk with them about this type of stuff so that you're not going to get a bunch of objections. That's kind of, the psychology of the credibility. So later on, they will give you your social, right? Letting them know you have your fingerprints, you have a federal background check that was able to get you your license is really going to be key for building that credibility. So just some good word tracks in here. Okay, cool. So now is explaining the process. And this is what I talked to you a little bit about, Christian, or I guess. Now this is where it's going to be a really good word track. Now this is basically just words explaining the process. And this is what I say every single time, even in the in-home. I just wrote it out. So, okay. So Jake, so in front of me here, I have what's called the suitability sheet. We're going to spend about a minute or so on yourself and your financial situation just to make sure everything is affordable within the budget. Typically, we don't have a problem because these were designed for people on a fixed and low income, like Social Security and disability. Then we'll spend about 2 to 3 minutes on your health. And that's just going to help me navigate which one of the 26 A-rated carriers would most likely give you the approval today with the best benefits. At that point, I'll have enough information to send over to the carrier, and they're the ones that decide if you're approved for the coverage. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Now, have you ever applied for something like this before?
I have not.
You have not. Okay. So either way, and I have it in you whatever in parentheses. If they haven't or if they have or they haven't, you say the same thing. So if they already have, let's say, okay, perfect. So you should already know we're gonna need to get you approved. To get you approved, the carrier will need to know a couple things. Or if they haven't, like Jake said, I say, okay, now so if we are able to get you approved, the carrier will need to know a couple things. First, they'll need to know who you are and see some sort of identification. As you know, these are state regulated programs. They just have to make sure we're talking to the right person, okay? Okay, awesome. Now, the second thing you'll need to know is if we find a plan that's comfortable, you would like to proceed with, they will need to know however you want to pay for the plan. Most people just set it up on some sort of auto pay with their bank or direct express card. And usually within 2 to 3 business days, we'll know if you're approved. Now, depending on the program, you might be able to get approved the same day. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Awesome. Now,
Wait,
go ahead.
I feel like right there, because I feel like I'm actually saying that, like that exact paragraph,
Yeah.
pretty similarly. That's where I always get, well, if I get it, okay, yeah, that makes sense, but I'm not doing anything today.
Yeah. So that's good though, because they're going to tell you that now or they're going to tell you that later, right? If they don't tell you that now, they're going to tell you that later. Because I've had clients all the time where they say that exact thing to me and then they buy it at the end because you built enough value, right? So that's
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying. Yeah. So they go, well, and here's what I would say, Christian. If somebody tells me that, I go, I say, okay. I was like, yeah, well, we don't even know if you need well,
Can I
depends.
can I say what I say first and then you correct me if I'm
Yeah,
wrong?
go ahead.
So when they say that, I say, Miss Harrison, whatever. So they say in response, I'm like, yeah, Miss Harrison, I actually completely agree with that. Unfortunately, this stuff takes about 24 to 72 hours to be approved anyway. So even if we did find something that you loved and you were head over heels for it and you wanted it right this second, we couldn't even make that decision. It's not up to us at the end of the day.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's good. Essentially, that's what I would say. I basically, in some way, say, hey, we don't even know if we can get you approved. Like, I don't even know if you can have this yet. So it doesn't really matter if you want it or not because I don't even know if you can get it. And that's almost the tone that I'm kind of coming off with. It's not trying to be rude, but you're just trying to take control of the situation because they're basically what they're doing. They're trying to take control. So,
and the confusion is because it's kind of two-faced that you're saying like, we're getting it same day, but we can't get it the same day, right?
the what?
But you're trying to figure out if they can do it the same day, we're going to do it the same day.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So, and
that makes sense.
Yeah. And I say with some programs, you might be able to get approved the same day, but usually it takes 2 to 3 business days. So I let them know. And then I've had clients too, Christian, literally that go exactly that. And they go, well, I don't even know if I want this. I don't even know. Of course, they don't know if they want it. You haven't showed them anything. You haven't built any of the value. So you say, no, hey, I totally understand that. And, they're the ones that decide, like I said, if you are approved. So I don't even know if you can qualify for something like this. I just go through the eligibility. Does that make sense? I would leave it there because they go, oh, like, and then they're like, oh, I don't have control. I can't even get it if I want it. Like, okay. And then it kind of just lets you do your job. But that's really good, I feel like, Christian, because people get that all the time. And then a new agent, that's where they go, they don't know what to say. And they go, well, you know what I mean? Now it's like awkward. Now they can tell you're trying to sell them something. Right. So that's really good. So, okay. Now,
Appreciate it.
yeah, of course, bro, of course. And what you said was the correct thing, by the way. Like, basically, in your own words, and this is why it's really important. I feel like to just understand the steps that you're going through and what you're trying to get across with each step, because you can kind of say it in your own way that is true to you, that is getting the same point across. So, yeah. So, okay. Now for the suitability sheet. So this is basically just the word tracks here for it. This makes it super easy. So you're currently working, retired, disabled. What to say if they're retired, what to say if they're disabled. And then this is important. So now, do you receive your Social Security or disability via direct deposit to your bank account, or do you receive it through the state's Green Direct Express card? Now, the reason we ask that is not every carrier in the state accepts that Direct Express card. Banking locally just opens up your options to all the carriers here. So that's good. So basically, you're figuring out if you got to go with a carrier that takes the card or not here. So this is going to help you in your underwriting later on. So the script is just meant this to make the sale a super smooth process. That's really kind of the purpose of it. So, okay. Now a little bit on your health, circling right down. Now a little bit on your health. So circling right down when it was diagnosed. And we talked about that in the underwriting training the other day, right? So now if you go back and you watch the underwriting training, you watch the suitability training, you can get a lot more in depth on this. We're just going to go through it for the script. Are you a smoker, non-smoker? If they are a smoker, do you plan on quitting anytime soon over the next couple of years? Always ask that. If they do plan on quitting, Americo Eagle is always a great plan because of the non-smoker rates they have. Okay, any heart attacks, heart failure, strokes, TIAs, or stints in the last 5 years? If yes, are you currently on any blood thinners or heart medications? And then, like we talked about in the underwriting training, we have down some medications here. You can ask them to show them that you are knowledgeable, even if you don't know the medications, right? For blood thinners, you take any Plavix or any warfarin, any heart medications, nitrostat, nitroglycerin, Eliquis. Okay, any cancer in the last 10 years? Okay, so let's play through this here, Jake. So, all right, Jake. So, are you a smoker? Or are you a non-smoker? Is Jake still on here? Christian, you want to go through this with me?
Yeah, my bad. I had it on mute.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Okay. Good.
Yeah, occasionally smoke.
Occasionally, okay. Like occasionally smoke. So like 1 a day, 5 a day, pack a week. Kind of what does that look like?
Socially, mainly on the weekends when I go out.
Okay, so like occasional, kind of like occasional cigar use, basically.
Sure.
Sure. Okay. Perfect. So, now this is just like a little side note for you guys. Depending on the carrier asks it, occasional like cigar use or occasional, use is okay for a non-smoker. So we'll just keep going. So, okay. So perfect. And then any heart attacks, heart failure, strokes, TIA or stints in the last 5 years, Jake?
No.
No. Okay. Any cancer in the last 10 years?
No.
Okay.
I'm healthy.
You're healthy. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Just last few things here. Any diabetes?
No.
Any neuropathy?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. No high blood pressure?
Nope.
Okay. Any lupus or rheumatoid arthritis?
A little bit of arthritis into my knees.
In your knees? Okay. Are you on any steroids?
No, I just some painkillers occasionally if it gets bad.
Painkillers, gotcha. And what painkillers are you taking? Like hydrocodone or
Yes.
hydrocodone? Okay. And that's just kind of as needed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha. And are you using any assistive devices like cane, walker, scooter, wheelchair?
Cane every once in a while if I walk too far.
Okay, gotcha. Good, that's good. Okay, any breathing complications like asthma or COPD?
No. No.
No. Okay. Any anxiety or depression?
No.
Okay. Are you bipolar or schizophrenic?
Nope.
Okay. Any kidney or liver problems?
No.
Okay. And then any hospitalizations in the last year?
Nope.
8 hours or more? No.
No.
Okay. Then one last thing. What's a rough height weight for you?
5'8", 250 pounds.
5'8", 250. Okay. So boom, that's when you check the
Big
guideline,
boy.
right? So, so if they already said they have coverage in place earlier, you can do this step. If not, just move on to underwriting. So if they did have coverage in place, so how much coverage do you have in place currently? Awesome. Is that term or whole life? Okay, great. How long have you had it in place? Perfect. So I'm assuming you're just looking for extra coverage to make sure blank isn't left with that burden. Okay, awesome. All right. And then right here, the point of this is to see if you can save them money, get them more coverage, or possibly just get them out of a 2-year waiting period. Okay. So that's what I'm thinking here. So depending on what they answer to that, that's how I'm going to proceed, what product and what I'm going to show them. But the main point here is you want to be assuming even if they have coverage, they're on the phone with you for a reason. They want more. Okay. So now if we can help them more in the process, great. But as long as we just get them more coverage, that's what's most important, right? Obviously we can help them get them out of a 2-year wait period. We can, save them some money, whatever. We want to do that, obviously. So, okay. So underwriting. So for new agents, this is what you're going to say to the client. So, hey, so I'm pretty sure I know what we're going to do here, but just to make sure I'm giving you the best options for the state, I'm going to reach out to my product specialist and get the discounted plans pulled up. Okay. So until you gain experience, just text your upline a picture of the suitability sheet. All right. So presenting numbers and building value. This is just what you guys are really going to be using the script for, I think, which is going to help you, is this number 7, presenting numbers and building value, and then number 4, which was just explaining the process. Because I feel like this is where the word tracks really, really do matter. And so that's you definitely want to be using those. So presenting numbers and building value. So while waiting for the product recommendation from your manager, or while you're doing the underwriting, go ahead and read this to the client to keep them busy, to get us a little time to make the best recommendation. So now, the way this works, Jake, is it's not like going to your local grocery store where you just see it, you like it, you buy it like a loaf of bread. With this kind of thing, we have to get it approved or get approved for it. So the carriers will look at what's called the Medical Information Bureau. It's the MIB. It's a compilation of your medical records, hospitalizations, and prescriptions over the last 5 to 7 years. We can't make our final decision today, because it's up to the carrier if they want to approve you, which is why I asked for the medications. So you customize the entire plan. I'm just the one that guides you through the process and helps you send in the request for coverage. All right. So now I'm going to send you over a copy of your benefit overview. Do you prefer email or text? Perfect. I sent it over. I want to go over that so you understand exactly how the plan works, and I'll get you those options. Okay. You're going to read over the final expense benefit sheet. If you want to do it really easy, you can just read off of this, right? So, so it's permanent coverage, right? We can all read off the benefit sheet, but this is like the word tracks you can use, basically. If you don't really just want to read the bullet points and you want to, really kind of build the value on it, read these guys. Okay, this is just going to make it easy. This is what I say. So permanent coverage, this just means it's a whole life program, so you don't have to worry about your benefits going away or later on. Level premium and benefit, like I said, these are designed for folks on fixed income, so this isn't like a cable bill that changes on you every month. I actually got that from Christian. This isn't like a cable bill that changes on you every month or every other month. Your rates are locked in and you never have to worry about your benefit going down on you later on. Okay. Number 3, it pays to your beneficiary tax-free. It's a tax-free benefit. So for example, if you have a $10,000 coverage, John will receive that full benefit amount and Uncle Sam doesn't get to take his 20%. Does that make sense? Perfect. So, okay. And then the last few here thing, double accidental payout. If your cause of death is choke, drown, slip, fall, or die in a car accident, your coverage would double. That's just like an accident, something included in your policy as well. Living benefits. To explain the terminal illness rider. This one is important. If you get a terminal illness and the doctor tells you that you have 12 to 24 months to live, you'll have access to the benefit tax-free while you're still living. What people like about this is that their beneficiary won't have to wait for the benefits, and you'll have peace of mind. The financial burden will be taken care of even before you were to pass away, right? People really like that one. We talked a lot about it before. Cash value, your policy will accumulate cash value over time. I keep it pretty brief with that usually. And then the immediate coverage, right? If you are quoting the immediate coverage, obviously you want to read this one. If it does have a 2-year wait period, what I'll add to this, if it is a 2-year wait period, the word track for that, I'm gonna actually add that into this script as well. So we'll add that in there, and then quoting. So now the reason too why for the presenting numbers and building value, I send them and I have them read it. I know some people have them write it down. I don't think it's the wrong move to have them write it down. I just feel like this is usually way faster and I can get through it and I can explain it faster. So I'm trying to make this kind of a quicker process so you guys aren't on the phone super long doing this, because it does take some time. So that's why I send it over to them and have them read it instead of having them write down everything, because I don't know, I just feel like it goes a little bit faster and they have a copy of it. Okay. So quoting, so based on what you told me, the system is built 3 packages of coverage. You can decide on which option makes the most sense, Jake. But keep in mind, I can adjust as you please, because the goal here is to find the right amount of coverage for the best price. But at the end of the day, it has to be affordable to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay,
it does.
perfect. So can you write down for me option 1, option 2, and option 3?
Yep, got it.
Yeah, okay. So now option 1 is going to guarantee to cover the full cost of the funeral and leave some money behind for your beneficiary. And that's going to be for 25,000 for, 138 a month.
Okay.
All right. Option 2, this is the option most people lean towards, that will cover the full cost plus factor in inflation in the future. So your beneficiary doesn't have to be burdened by the amount of the expenses whatsoever. And that's going to be the $20,000 coverage for 102 a month.
Okay.
Alrighty. And option 3 will cover a basic funeral expense as long as it's not on the fancy end, but won't leave any money behind for your beneficiary. That's going to be for 15,000 for $72 a month.
Perfect. Okay.
Alrighty. Perfect. Now the golden question, guys. It's the golden question. Now, Jacob, if we were able to get approved for the coverage, which one of these makes the most sense for your current financial situation? So
go ahead.
Option what?
Option 2.
Option 2. Perfect. Perfect. Now, is that going to be comfortable for you?
Yes.
Okay. The reason why I ask is sometimes we have a bigger heart than our budget, and we want to make sure you're in the best possible position financially. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Perfect, guys. So now we're starting the application. Okay. Now, from here, I know some people I've heard have trouble going from them picking to starting the application. So this is the word track to get you right into the application and right the questions to start asking. Now, while you're going through this, you're going to be pulling up, you're going to have the script printed out, right? Or you're going to have it on a different computer, because you're going to have, you want the script, you want to be looking at it the whole time. So while I'm pulling up those quotes, I'm pulling it up on my other computer, I'm pulling it up on whatever, and I'm just going to be reading off of this. So you're basically kind of buying time, so you have everything set up so you can just put it straight into the computer, right? Straight into the application. So, all right, so perfect, Jake. Now we'll send in a request for coverage and hope to get the approval. Now, if they decline you, we'll go to the next lowest option. But keep in mind, they don't approve everyone, but I will do my best to get you the coverage, okay? Now I'm going to be confirming some basic information, asking you some similar medical questions that I know the answers to already, but I'm just required to ask you for the carrier on record by law. Then we'll be listing the beneficiary and choosing the effective date. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great. So now you're segueing into the application. Now, this is, and I'm going to make this a little bit like bold on the thing here. So now, Jacob, so you're pulling this up, even though if you're not looking at it on the actual application yet, just have it wherever you can like write down something. I'm assuming if you get approved for the plan, you want the physical policy documents delivered to the address on file here, the whatever address you confirmed in the beginning, right? So at 123 Main Street, is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And is that a house or an apartment?
It's a house.
The house. Okay, perfect. So now when you do that, they're basically telling you, hey, I want the policy 100%, right? So that's the first question I ask that segues into the application. Like, hey, if you're approved, you want the document sent there? It's just psychologically, they're basically saying yes. Like they're closing themselves on like, yes, like I want it 100%, right? So that's what you want. So, so now when you're segueing into it, the first page of the application, this is usually the stuff you'll have to get. So let's say the application isn't loading up or you're having trouble. Just start confirming all this stuff and just writing it down on a separate piece of paper, and you can put it into the application as it loads up, right? So I know sometimes that happens. So just be prepared. These are the main things you're going to need. Okay. So confirm their spelling, their last name, height and weight, phone number on file, email on file, what state were they born in, what city were they born in. It's not asked. You can just line up the question like this. And then you can say something like, obviously you are a US citizen. You can joke around and say, I was answering that one for you, right? Now, what you're doing, guys, is you're decreasing sales pressure. When you start the application, now I'm decreasing sales pressure because I want them to feel comfortable giving me their personal information, right? So I'm decreasing sales pressure. I'm being more human. Okay. So hey, I was answering that one for you. And then and verify your social. I need to add the word verify. And can you verify your social, Jacob? And
Yeah,
then
blank, 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 blank.
perfect. And then repeat it. I'll always repeat it back to them. I always do, just to make sure you have the correct social. Because if you get that social wrong, I mean, it can mess up the whole application. It's really important. So just repeat it back to them. Okay, perfect. Now here's a couple of social security objections you can use if they tell you no. So Jake, so tell me no. So
No.
Can you verify your social? No.
Yeah, no, I don't feel comfortable doing that.
Okay, gotcha. I completely understand. Now, the main reason they ask for that piece of information is that how they can identify and know that you are, first and last name. So Jacob Hudson. And most importantly, that's the only thing on your death certificate when you die for them to pay out to your loved ones. So,
Gotcha. Okay.
so go ahead and just verify your social.
Blank, 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 blank.
Yep. Okay. Perfect. So now let's say they're saying no, let's just say, tell me no again. I'm just,
No, I don't feel comfortable doing that.
got it.
Over
Okay.
the phone.
All right. No worries. Do you receive text messages to this phone here? I can probably show you better than I can tell you for transparency. Then you send them a picture of the application. And so do you see the carrier name and then your name? Does that all make sense now? Okay, perfect. Verify your social when you're ready. So you're basically just trying to show them that you're real. You can also add in here, and I'll probably add this in too, because I'm going through this with you guys, and I'm seeing like little tiny things I can add in here. I would even here go okay, and just have them pull up your background information, because the reason they're not giving you it is because they don't trust you. They told you they wanted the price, they told they wanted to deliver to their house. The real pushback is they just don't trust you. So you just have to get them to trust you. So to get them to trust you, you got to make them pull up the thing to look up you're an active agent, right? But here's the thing, guys. If you guys did explain the process correctly, you're going to notice you are not going to get that objection really hardly ever. If you build the value right, and you explain the process and you really put that in there, people are just gonna give you the social. Honestly, I really hardly ever get the social objection. So, but it's there for you if you need it. So okay, so perfect. Now we're gonna do is validate your identity and make sure you're not a robot or anything. Obviously you're not. We're on the phone right now. Haha. Right. Older people being just like kind of making little corny jokes goes a long way. Just to decrease that sales pressure. Okay. So continue the application, answering health questions. You should already know the answers to move through this part quickly. So just go through the health questions on the application, crank through it. The beneficiary information, usually only the date of birth is required. So just so you guys know that, get the beneficiary's date of birth for it. When you're putting in the beneficiary, they never are required to have the social. They're never required to have any of that other information. So just go through that there. Now lining up the banking here. So this is the real part that really matters, right, guys? This is where we lose a lot of sales. So I know we're going a little bit over, but this is pretty important stuff. We're about to go do this all day, so we might as well practice. So the immediate draft word track. Okay. So, hey, Jake. So the next part here is the state's anti-money laundering verification. If the policy is to be approved, when would you like it for it to go into effect? Because, and I won't pause right there. When would you like it to go into effect? Because most people like for it to go into effect immediately since it's day one coverage. So would you want your loved ones to be protected immediately, or do you want them to wait a little bit? Haha. So you can kind of joke with them, right? And make it like, oh, yeah, I want to go into effect right away. But you only want to do that if you know they have the funds to do it, right? So if it is immediately, okay, perfect, Jacob. The first premium typically drafts in 24 to 48 hours. So that's going to be fine.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And then is the 30th of every month going to be fine for you moving forward, or will you want it on your Social Security billing date?
The 30th is fine.
Okay. If they are on Social Security, guys, push for making the recurring draft on the Social Security building date. That way, every time, as soon as they get their money, your policy is one of the first things getting paid. So that's really going to help you with chargeback. So for Social Security billing, push for making it recurring on the day they get paid, if you can. Now, if you get pushback, so they say, no, I can't do it right now. I don't have any money for whatever. Okay, no problem. It actually looks like you qualify for Social Security billing for it to be drafted in accordance to that date, whether it's the first third of the month or third or fourth Wednesday of the month. Which one do you receive your SSI?
The third of the month.
Third of the month. Okay, perfect. Now, God forbid your beneficiary. I mean, now, God forbid, Jake, this coverage is set for the 3rd of October. Make sure nothing happens to you till the 3rd of October. Okay, that's when your coverage will start. All right. And then I kind of say that in like a joking way, you know what I mean? To kind of get rid of the sales pressure. But you got to let them know, hey, the policy doesn't go into effect until that date, right? So, and then here's the word track for getting the banking. All right, and then who do you bank with?
BECU.
BC, okay. And is your name as it appears with your financial institution?
Yes.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay, it looks like we are partnered with them. Just to confirm, you opened that in Washington State, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So it looks like we are partnered with them in our state system. 9 out of 10 times the routing number that automates is correct. Do you have a checkbook or something to confirm it's correct?
Yes, I can go find it.
Boom. Google that bank's state's routing number, and then read it off to them. All right. So a lot of times right there, they're going to get up and grab it, or they're going to say something like, well, do I have to get to that right now? I don't even know if I'm approved, right? So this is the objections for that, okay? So pushback number one, hey, I completely understand. Now, quick question, Jake, have you ever gotten or received a check from anyone in your lifetime? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. If you notice at the bottom of every check, you'll see the bank's routing and account number, because that information can't be used to buy something online or go to your local Walmart and go on a shopping spree. Okay. What would be weird is if I asked, if I would have asked you for something like a debit or credit card, which is an unsecured payment method. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I have to give you that now? I completely understand. So the state is required by law to validate that information provided is linked to your name for your safety and the safety of others. Do you receive text messages to this phone?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I'm going to send you a picture on my screen for further transparency. Send a pic of the application with the carrier name and their name. Do you see your name there and the name of the carrier on the screen? All right, now go ahead when you're ready with that information.
Okay.
That's usually pushback number 2 is what I will go for. It's required to match up. So I say this is required by law to validate that information provided is linked to your name for your safety and the safety of others. And then I would add in, like I said, again, these are all state regulated, right? It all has to match up, because if it doesn't, you know, it's because that's, like I said, this is the anti-money laundering. This is to make sure there's no fraud going on. Like you're questioning them, like they shouldn't be like questioning you, like you should be the one questioning them, right? If that makes sense, like the psychology behind that. So, okay. And then, so let's just say, okay, you get it. Okay, perfect. And the account number, this is a checking or savings account. Perfect. Give me one moment while the system verifies that information is linked to your name for your safety and safety of others. Boom. Go through, get it signed. After you cement the policy, this is what you can say to just remember that you're always cementing the policy correctly. Okay. So I'm not going to, we don't have to really, I guess, yeah, I'll read it really quick. So Jake, everything is fully submitted or approved at this point. A couple things to recap. The coverage we applied for was blank, and the name of the insurance carrier is blank. Also, this number we are talking on, this is my direct line. I'm making them write this down. So go ahead and write this down. This is my direct line. It's the same number my mom calls me on. Anything you ever need in regards to this coverage, I'm always the first person you can reach out to. I'm just a phone call or text away. Lastly, now this is important. I always contact the Department of Insurance in the state and let them know that you and I had completed the request and submitted an application. The reason I do that is because it should remove you from any kind of list of solicitations about this coverage. No one will ever contact you about this coverage other than myself or the carrier. With the internet these days, you will still probably get some calls, but none will be anything in regard to what we did. So if they say they're my manager, it's incomplete, due for review, et cetera, et cetera. It's just a line of crap from some telemarketer trying to pull a fast one on you. I know this coverage is important for you, and I don't want to see some random person mess up the coverage for your family, okay? So it sounds kind of funny when you read it like that, but essentially I'm letting them know, hey, the only people that know about this coverage, right, is me and the Department of Insurance. I'm your insurance person for life. Nobody else should be talking to you about any insurance. And if they do contact you telling you they're my manager, right, it's due for review, it's incomplete, they're just trying to sell you something. They're just trying to pull a fast one on you. This coverage, I know this coverage is important for you, you know, and I don't want to see some random person mess it up for you. Okay, so I'm your guy. It's basically what you're saying. Okay, so now from there, you can ask for referrals and stuff like that. I'm also going to add that onto the script. This is kind of a 1.0 version of the script that I made. I'm going to add a couple things to it, and then I'm going to blast this out to you guys. I'll have this out to you guys. I can send you this one right now, but I'll have the updated one to you guys probably by the end of the day. I just got to add a couple things to it. So, but that's pretty much it for this guy. What questions do you guys have, if any questions on this or anything else you want to go through more or anything like that? Okay. All right, guys. So let's see here. Let's see here. Okay, they won't come on the list. All good. Okay, cool, guys. Well, I believe that's everything then. I'm gonna have the script out to you guys, emails. I believe I have everybody's email here. If I don't, just text me and I will send it to you. But yeah, I think it's gonna be really good. Let's get on the phones and let's start dialing. Oh, one other thing I wanted to say here real quick for you guys, whoever is coming to the Florida convention, we're trying to get everything locked in. We've got flights, we've got stay all set up here. So let me know where you guys are at, and let's get this thing going. If you guys need anything, let me know. But yeah, let's get on the phones. I'm about to get on the phone here and just be dialing. So whoever else wants to join us, let's just get on here. But I appreciate you guys. Anything else for me before I end it here?
All right, bro. Appreciate you.
Cool. All right, guys.
Appreciate you, brother.
Of course, guys. Let's go make some money.
Sure.
All righty.